Shout out to my engineering brothers, especially Francisco. You know who you are. So today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and here in Houston, Texas, for many of us parents like myself, today is the last day of school. School's out for summer. I recently was following this gentleman on YouTube, Ali the Dazzling, and he made a compelling argument for engineering as the new MBA. So I just want to dive right in. First, I want to say it's important to let go and free your mind as much as possible. And I'll provide an Audible link where you can check out most of these authors and the works for free in below, as well as a link to the Tao of vibe coding and Ali the Dazzling and his engineering as a MBA YouTube video. So Bruce Lee said, after all these years, I've come to the conclusion that the only real help is self-help. The rest is temporary. And that came from his work, Striking Thoughts. Another quote that I was reflecting upon this morning was, realize deeply that the present moment is all we have, or all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. And that's from Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now. I won't go into my interpretation of how powerful both of these quotes are and how useful they've been to me. I want to talk about, I don't want to get off track, I want to talk about why engineering is the new MBA, how self-taught systems thinking, coding, vibe coding are changing everything. Anyone solving real world problems, I hope this is a YouTube channel that you're visiting and is in your regular algorithm. So Ali the Dazzling said MBAs are dead. They're going to be replaced by engineering very, very soon. And in this video, I've gone from plant ops, automation systems, boiler rooms, power plant, on-site, building automation systems, field engineering, to self-taught coder that now I can build apps and run AI agents. And this was a very short time span, less than 3 years. 3 years ago, I knew nothing about writing code. So why engineering wins? An MBA teaches management, finance, operations in theory. But engineering trains you to think in systems. So systems, inputs, process, feedback, output, that's not just code, that's old business, that's life, that's the system for everything. Want to grow a product, input version 1, system market testing, output feedback, repeat, I iterate, optimize, and scale. Ali the Dazzling explains it way better than I am able to articulate it while being authentic, but basically it's about creating a system. The systems can be very simplified, and then through feedback you can optimize your systems until you have a successful product that you're able to successfully market and successfully sell. Then you have a system, you have a business, you have a successful product and service. Apple did it that way. Tesla did it that way. He says everything in life is really a system. You have some type of input, feed it into some system, and get some type of output. I mean, that's a great simplification. You don't need a degree. I didn't go back to school. Well, I did, but to get my degree in my associate arts in communications, and primarily. So I went to YouTube, I went to ChatGPT, I went to LinkedIn, I went to Audible, I use a lot of tools. If you're building stuff, solving problems, using logic, you're already engineering. Joel Salatin, who is a world-renowned author about farming, sustainable farming practices, talked about how farmers and the early agriculturalists before the combustion industrial revolution were often engineers, because before that they required horsepower or manual human labor to harvest. So they were some of the first engineers to develop and invent machines to help them out of utility, and therefore solving this larger problem that later was technological advancement that we probably built on and are using somewhat in some form today. I've also recently found out that farming and agriculture, ranching, is one of the industries that leads in using robotics and automation, which, when I think about it deeply, doesn't surprise me at all. So I'm just saying I'm self-taught, and if I can learn it, you can learn it. Don't be scared by the fancy terms. I'm going to try to simplify things with AI, GPT, agents, apps, devs, vibe coding. Don't worry. Don't worry. However, let's see. If you're building stuff, you're already engineering. There's a lot of self-taught developers who are better than the people that are being paid and who were trained in college and who have a degree to do that, because they don't have the creativity or the vision outside of their specific training and field, that they're really good at one thing, and they kind of have a closed mindset in that arena if they're a expert at their craft, for lack of a better term. And we can all get caught up thinking that. However, I like to ask myself, well, what do we know that we don't know? Or what do I don't know that I don't know? I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm going to move on. So basically, look, no degree required. Don't pay for some software that's going to automate things for you. Don't pay for some slick AI sales marketing. Don't pay for it, because frankly, my mentality now, and especially with 3D printers and as advanced as 3D printing has gotten, and we won't even go there yet. I don't, as a cabinet maker, carpenter, builder of homes, boxes, processes, systems, code, apps, like, I don't buy anything that I can't build for cheaper. If there's a better product out there that's already developed, somebody already put the time in and it's free, or I don't have to, or it's cheaper, then I go to Home Depot, or I buy this app because it makes I pay for a subscription because it makes my life easier. And as much as I love Bitcoin mining and engineering technology and sharing this information, being a mentor, being mentored, I'm looking to, connect with some people. It can be very isolating in the grind of, financial responsibilities and taking care of a family, especially as a parent. And I know that many of you will be able to relate. I mean, who's not a mother, who's not a father, who's not a aunt or an uncle. So we can all relate to these human issues that we all have, and we have to work. Hopefully work is redefined in the next few years, but I want to help people work safer and smarter by design as much as possible through operating systems now that I can design software and build software. So anyway, if I can do it, you can do it. Sorry to ramble. What is Vibe? So self-taught developer. I like skating. I don't know why this is in here. Farmers, I mentioned farmers, operators. They're all systems thinkers, no degree required. Yeah, okay. So Rick Rubin. How many of you are familiar with Rick Rubin? If that name doesn't ring a bell for you, well, he's probably produced some of your most influential music in history, and I would bet there's a song of his that you probably really liked, especially if you're about my age. But Rick Rubin's produced Jay-Z, produced the Beastie Boys, he's produced the Johnny Cash. He worked with Stone Temple Pilots when they did their best album, if I remember correctly. Alice in Chains, all the grunge, and a lot of larger masterpieces of some of the most influential music of my time was produced by Rick Rubin, and his holistic, organic approach to making music, which I only now have found out about reading his Audible book, The Creative Mind. I'll drop it in the video description. So I don't want to get too far off, but Rick Rubin was a meme and is the face of vibe coding, and he's said, I'm not a musician, I'm a vibe guy, that's another interesting thing about Rick Rubin. He was not a musician. He didn't play any instruments. He just had an amazing ear for music and was really good at putting out organic music that flowed. So he's been a practicing, Taoist. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And that's kind of the vibe coder philosophy. So vibe coding means don't overthink, just build. Flow, don't stall, don't perfect. Ship it and refine. Ship it is a, coding tech term. Here are the 15 rules of vibe coding simplified. Start with templates. Number one, definitely. Speak tasks to GPTs. I have stopped trying to talk altogether, as you can, or type altogether. I am too slow. I dictate and use my microphone as much as possible. So speak tasks. Use GPTs, use custom built GPTs. There are free GPTs. A GPT is just an agent that is specified and trained to do a certain task. And if someone else has already built one that does that and rates well, then why not use that, especially if you're new to GPT development. Use voice to text, meaning basically you can speak English now by what's called prompt to whatever you're trying to accomplish. Prompt to social media creator means you can just tell it, hey, I want to create a Instagram post about kittens and raise money for the local shelter. What are some ideas? And it will spit it out, and it's specified to do that consistently because it's been trained on information data to do so. I don't want to draw this out too much, but build fast, meaning with software development, don't be scared to put out something that's not perfect. You want a quality working product, but if it works, don't worry about the window dressing, the cool front facade, the front end programming. Someone else who is an expert at that can take that load. Deploy on day one. Man, that is a great feeling to be able to achieve an app or software in just a day. And I can help you share the tools with you to do so. Copy and paste errors to fix. They're talking about code there. It makes repairing code really a much easier, streamlined. Save your good prompts, absolutely. Open up a Google document and start saving what we call the English that we use when communicating with AI, are prompts. So you would have a prompt input, that's what you're telling it, and then a prompt output, which is the information that the AI or chat is returning to you. Keep your code short. That's a great rule. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If it gets it right and it runs, then you've got a minimum viable product that you can scale. The kinks can be worked out later by professionals who you can collaborate with, who can check the code over and make sure that there aren't any bugs. Commit often. I think that's post work, whatever it means. It means to dedicate, stay consistent, persistent. Fork smart stuff. Oh man, fork smart stuff. I believe he's talking about smart. Collaborate with others in areas that you don't know what you don't know. If that's not your arena of expertise, collaborate with someone who it is. People are really willing to work on problems if you're trying to solve a problem of the future. Use tools like Perplexity. I would definitely recommend Perplexity and DeepSeek over ChatGPT. Code with Cursor or Replit. Those are the two hacks I'll turn you on to immediately. Learn by remixing. Again, it's okay to steal from others, so to speak. Everyone's been taking art is looking at something, being inspired, and making something else. Does that wind up being the exact thing that you were inspired by? No, because you're not that person and you're not able to do it unless, yes, it can be done, but why would you want to just make someone else's product the exact same product? It would be pointless. Now, to design something different or your own concept of it that has its own nuances, there's value in that. There's value in feedback on that design. And just vibe. These aren't rules, it's the rhythm, and it's like, free your mind, flow, don't force it. One thing that Bruce Lee said that I had to really process and hang on to is, it might not be the time for this thing to happen in your life. It might not be the time, is the way that he articulates it, meaning don't force and don't try to control. He was very much one that was insistence and understood the flow of working with nature rather than working against it. And ultimately, everything is energy and vibration. I mean, as an engineer, as a Bitcoin miner, I've done a lot of rabbit hole deep dive into AI and energy, high performance computing, and the infrastructure and the sustainable infrastructure that's going to support those systems. And we're still running on really combustion revolution technology. We need to move to a post-combustion industrial paradigm, because it's good for the planet, it's good for our kids, it's good for our grandkids, it's good for us. I think that about covers it. So free tools I use: Perplexity, Replit, Cursor. If you're in trades, in fields, in code, or in transition, the world isn't waiting for degrees. It's running on builders who understand shipping value. And if you solve real world problems and can communicate clearly, you don't need to ask for a seat at the table. You will be the damn table. Well, my tagline signing out: love yourself like Kanye West loves Kanye. Kanye.